Foster here with Durango High School, learning from the past to improve the future. I'm here in Cambodia at the Genocide Museum. It's commonly known as S21, which I believe has to do with like the part of town it was in Phnom Penh, which is the capital of Cambodia. I'm not allowed to take videos here when I'm inside the compound, so they said that I could just take one here at the beginning and then I'll take one at the end as well once I'm getting ready to leave. But I want you to take a look at some of the photos that I'll be taking, and we'll have a little discussion afterwards as far as what we saw and what the impact of this is and what we can do collectively to make sure that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. So just a little view of what this is. These are the 14 gravestones of the people that they found when the liberators discovered this place once the regime had ended. We're talking of 1975 to 1979. And so 1979, January 1979 is when the liberators came in and freed the people from this horrible torture that had taken place. So take a look at the photos and then I'll be back at the end. Alright guys, I'm outside of the Killing Fields S21 Museum, and a couple things that I just wanted to leave you with. First of all, my family and I, traveling around the world, made the decision not to bring my 7 and 11-year-old daughter to this museum. Did a little research and we decided that it was a little bit too much for them to take, but for you guys as high school students, I think that it's definitely something that you need to be aware of and to know about. One of the biggest quotes that I take away from this is from somebody that was on trial, did a testimony to Dutch, who was the main general that was assigned to this camp. And he said, let it be known that evil can occur when people do nothing. And so I think that for me, after going through this place, that's one thing that I really take away, that people didn't do anything and this is what we have. Another takeaway that I have is some of the torture tactics that were used were just super inhumane and just really made me sick. And I'm gonna need to just kind of have a few moments to be able to just soak it in. And the final thing that I wanted to leave with you with, guys, is that this used to be a high school. And so whether it's the high school that I teach at Durango High School or any high school out there, just to think that at one point this was where there's even still some blackboards on the walls. It's still the same building, and then they turned it into this place of torture, really, where over 20,000 people died at this place alone. And so just kind of that contrast from this place of learning to the torture that we saw. And not only that, but this whole idea of communism as the answer during the Cold War, and basically to try to rid the country of anybody or anything that did not believe in Pol Pot and the regime. And whether that be academics, people that were educated, whether that be people that worked in the factories, some of the quotas that they would make people live up to as far as harvesting an unrealistic amount of rice from a specific farm. And once they did that, they would be put on trial for treason because they weren't able to harvest that amount of food. And so just this idea that some people feel that it's the answer, but then they have these unrealistic expectations for what it means to be able to be a part of the common good, as communists would think that, you know, that's what they're supposed to do. And so I want you to take some time to hopefully respond to what extent is communism meant to lead to a place like this, or any way of thinking actually, and how do we as a society get to this point? All right, thanks guys.